Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Today we're going to have a look at a light that I really wasn't expecting. This is the Olight Prowess. It's a bit of a departure from some of their other lights, and I think it's definitely different. There's a few different ways in which you can use this as well, which I think I've learned as part of kind of testing this out over the last week or two. So yeah, let's turn around the camera and check out the Olight Prowess. Now quickly looking around the box and inside the box, on the outside, on the front, certainly you'll be able to see the Prowess there. Throw is up to 245 meters with a maximum output of 5,000 lumens. On the back here, I'll just hold that still, so if you do want to pause this, it'll give you some information about the different light loads, run times, throws, and so on and so forth. On the inside, opening is, again, it has that really nice iPhone-esque kind of opening to this. Here's the Prowess, and it comes in the holster that it comes in, plus there are some extra bits in here which I have took out. Now, the light itself, so as I mentioned, it does come in one of these resin plastic holsters. A lot of Olight lights recently have had these over the textile versions. When they first came out, they didn't really click into place as well. I will say, the most recent one that I've really liked with this is on the Javelot. I think this one works really well, and I will say, so this one feels a lot more like the Javelot and the newer ones. So when it's in there, there's a good positive click. But also on the bottom here, hopefully you'll be able to see that there is a section for the magnetic charging cable. Now, a bit of a sneak peek on this, as far as the charging is concerned, it does charge through the bottom here. However, you don't get one of these magnetic charging cables. You have to purchase one of these separately. It does come with a charging cable. It would be crazy if they didn't. However, if you're an Olight fan and you have plenty of these lying around, these will still work with this, and it will still work whilst it's charging as well. Now I'm just going to take this out of here. There is actually, sorry, I want to stay on this because one of the little bits that you get inside the goodie box with this is that you get one of these wall hanging units, I guess, whatever you'd call a wall dock. So you can either attach this with the 3M strip that you get with this, and you also get a second one as well, just in case. Or you can screw this into your wall as well. That fits on there, and then there's a where the belt clip is there, it hooks into place. So it stops it from coming out. If you want it to come out, you just have to push it against it slightly, and that will come out. And I think it will work. Of course, yes, it will work both ways. So that does come in the box. One of the other things that does come in the box that I really do like about this, and I think this is where there's a lot of multi-functionality to the Prowess, is this base unit. So the base unit does come with a USB Type-C cable, and it charges via this. So it plugs into the bottom here. When you want to charge it, you put it in like that, and it will stand up on this base unit. There are a couple of different things with this base unit, in the fact that you get a suction cup, which is stuck on by 3M, so you can attach this to the bottom if you're concerned about this slipping around on your desk, or if you're going to put this in a place where you just know it's simply not going to move, it's going to be there all the time, then you can use one of these adhesive strips and you can add this to the bottom as well. One of the bits that I do quite like is the fact that it does have a quarter inch thread on the bottom here. So if you have a small tripod or something like that, you can attach it to the tripod, and then you can put this on here, and then hopefully it'll mean that there's no chance of this knocking over. As far as knocking over is concerned, I've had this on my desk a couple of weeks now, and I've not knocked it over. It's been fine. In fact, my favourite place for this has been on my desk. I've used it through nights while I've been testing, walking the dogs and stuff. But having this on the desk, so you just kind of pop it in and it just clicks away, I think is a really nice solution. And then it does work with any USB Type-C. So I have tried this with 6 different types. I tried it with the one that comes with it, and I've tried it with 7. Sorry. the one that comes with it, and I've tried it with 7 different from different manufacturers, and they've all worked perfectly. Whilst it is charging on this, it will also work whilst it's charging. Now for the light that kind of comes down, the downward firing light on this, it's great. I'd actually prefer to use this. This is going to sound not what it's intended for, but using this as a desk light has actually been really nice, because it fires down onto the desk and doesn't shine into your eyes. So let's put that there for a second. I know I'm kind of skipping certain bits. Usually I talk about kind of sizes and weights and all of that sort of stuff, but I thought as we're talking about charging, we might as well open this up. And let's turn that off. It is the tail that unscrews, and then on the inside here there is a 21700 5000 milliamp hour 3.6 volt battery. Now these are proprietary batteries. You have to buy other Olight batteries for them to work, and unfortunately these won't work in other lights, but again they're not particularly expensive, very comparable to other manufacturers. Plus, if you have other Olights, you'll find that they'll just work. It does tail stand. In fact, let's undo this, because I do this a lot. But put that first bit in, half a turn. There is a little bit of give on this. There's probably a full turn, little to nothing. Now we've engaged with the rubber rose seal on there, and it's very good. Now, as far as the dust and water rating for this is concerned, it is IPX7, which means that they haven't tested it for the dust, which is the X, but they have tested it for water, and it's a 7. Now, 8's the highest, so you can get this wet, but don't really get it too wet. You can submerge it, but if you take it out, you really want to dry it as quickly as possible. But with 8 being the highest, certainly if you're taking this outdoors, as it's designed to be used, 7 is still particularly high, which I think is great as well. Now we'll take a step back, because usually at this point what I'd do, or at least at the beginning of this, is I'd talk about some lengths and some weights and so on and so forth. So the full length of this comes in at 143 millimeters, which is it's kind of average for a light, especially I'd say a 21700 light. The width of the barrel on this is reasonably thin. This is kind of just around that kind of inch, whereas the head unit here, where you can see that we have those 6 LEDs in there, that comes in at 49 millimeters. Sorry, I was just checking my notes there for a second. As far as weight, I'd say this is fairly average for a light of this size. So it comes in at 269 grams, and that is including the battery in here. One of the ways that they've been able to reduce the weight, or keep the weight as what you'd hopefully expect, is that this is constructed from a very popular aluminium, which is the 6061 T6 aluminium. It's an aerospace aluminium that's known for being incredibly tough, but also reasonably light as well. This has a nice black anodized coating on there, with a nice blue ring around the bezel on there as well, which I think it's a very kind of popular, especially for Olight, color combination. And then down on the actual body of the light here as well. So if I bring back in the Javelot's very kind of atypical of what you'd expect for a light. That it has this knurling that goes down the shaft like that. Whereas with this light, it uses this nice geometric tesseling tiles, which again is really nice. Now turning this onto its end here you can see you have those 6 LEDs. But as I've already mentioned, there is an array of LEDs around the underside here as well. So fast forwarding on to the UI. The UI is all done through this single button here, and it's a very popular, very tried and tested UI from Olight. The only difference is, because we have lights or LEDs here at the front and then lights here underneath, there is also this switch so that you can switch between each of the different functions. So let's have a look at the LED lights here on the end. Now these are a very white light. If I can turn this on, so your button here, or your switch here, is a simple press on, press off. While it's off, you can do a long press, and this will give you instant access to the moonlight mode. Then if you want to ramp up between each of the different modes, you do a long press, which here we're on low, medium, and then high, and then if I press it again, it will turn off. When it is on, let's put that back down onto low. I can do it. Oh, sorry. I can do a double press, which will then give me instant access to the turbo mode. And of course, we'll go down to the lake at the bottom of the garden soon, and well, at least once the sun's gone down, so that we can have a look at how well this performs in the dark. So fairly standard, as I mentioned, on, off. There is a memory function on this as well, apart from your turbo. So if I put this onto turbo, turn it off and turn it back on again, it will just put it onto whatever function there was beforehand. Although if I'm on moonlight mode and I turn it off and turn it back on again, the memory does remember moonlight mode, which I like that they've started to add that. Before, moonlight and turbo were your special modes, but I do like the fact that it will remember that now. Now I did mention, so that's these 6 LEDs here. Now there are an array of LEDs. I probably couldn't count them. Let's say there's 40 for now. 40 really small, nice little LEDs in there. So if I flick this down onto its downlight mode and turn this on, hopefully you'll be able to see now all of those tiny little LEDs. The light that comes out the front is a very white light, whereas the light that comes out of here is a very nice, warm kind of light. And this works without ramps, or at least without those defined steps from low, medium and high. So if I do a long press, it will automatically come on to its moonlight mode, or its lowest mode, which is 2 lumens. I can do a double press, and this will take me up to its highest. I'm going to just turn that down for a second. That was blinding me for a second now. It's surprising how much 800 lumens is when it's shining directly back in your eyes. But yes, so a double press will put it onto its highest mode, which is 800 lumens. Now I'll put this back on again. So the main reason that I mentioned that it doesn't ramp, or it's rampless, is the fact that before you'd have low, medium, high. So if I keep my finger down on this, hopefully you'll be able to see that there is just a gradual increase to the top, which is where it will flash to say that's its brightest. If I then press it again and hold on to this, eventually you'll see it'll go all the way down, and it does another flash to show that it's on its lowest as well. It does mean that if you want to put it somewhere in the middle, you're kind of guessing what it is. I don't know. Is that 40 lumens? Is that 150 lumens? I just don't know. So you don't know exactly where you are halfway between the two. I could probably sit here and go, oh, actually it takes 5 seconds to go from its lowest to its highest, so after 2.5 seconds it's at X, and I know roughly it'll last this long. That was a lot of mouthful in one little bit. So it would have been nice to have those on there, but I certainly don't miss this. When you have it on one and then you just turn it back on again, or you can just kind of switch between them. It's nice. But yeah, it's surprising how much light this does kick out when it's down. But it does mean that in one mode you're holding it like that. The other mode you're kind of holding it like this. If you do have it in your hand, it shines down onto your hand, which is when I mentioned, so having this if you're camping, I really would, like 9-year-old Randy would have loved this. I was a massive comic geek when I was young, and I'd stay up till midnight in my room with a torch reading comics underneath my bed. I was that very typical comic book nerd. So having that to be able to read comics at night would have been absolutely amazing. Fast forward 30 years, and now having this on my desk and just turning this on so I can do some work, and it faces down towards my keyboard and my mouse, but not directly up into my eyes, because my head's up here somewhere, is really nice as well. It seems a strange concoction of a light, however it works really well together. So yeah, let's fast forward a few hours and see how well it does in the dark. Well, the sun is officially down. We're down at the fishing pond. Not too dark of a night, but it's still good enough And we'll go through the settings so we can do a long press from off, which puts us straight on to the moonlight mode. Moonlight mode on this is 5 lumens. I'm guessing because of the amount of LEDs on this, they probably couldn't have gone down to something like 1 lumen or half a lumen or maybe 2 lumens, because there's 5 or 6 LEDs, so it would make sense that it's 5 lumens. So you get to see a little bit more than you would do on a moonlight mode. I think outside, because we do have a little light pollution around, it doesn't seem as bright as it actually is, but if this is in the house, then this would seem certainly a lot brighter. Of course, I can do a long press, which will take it from moonlight up to low mode. The low mode on this is 50 lumens. So just over there is an ornamental waterfall, which is tricky to see at the moment. Come back around here, there's a tree there. There's also a bat flying around as well. So with the 50 lumens on the low mode, I can probably see maybe 10 meters ahead of me, certainly with no issues. Coming back around this side as well, and then looking into the middle of the pond here. So now you can just see it there. There is a small little lake that we do get some birds kind of nesting in there. But this is the low mode. Moonlight jumps up from 5 lumens up to 50 lumens on low mode. I can do another long press, which will then take me up to the medium mode. Medium mode on this is 300 lumens. So from low, we've jumped from 50 lumens up to 300. Now that ornamental waterfall there is so much easier to be able to see. I can now see the tree at the top of the stairs there. There's the bat that's flying around. That tree, again, so much easier to see. Looking onto the opposite side of the pond, there's a few more trees there, and then being able to see that island in the middle again, it's a lot easier to see. But then from low to medium, we've jumped up from 50 lumens all the way up to 300 lumens. I think this might be a good mode to show you as far as the warm spot is concerned. So I'm holding this out at arm's length. There are six LEDs in this, so as you can imagine, you don't get a particular defined warm spot, but as I move this around, you can see that there is a warm spot there, kind of. But as I usually do, 45 degrees to the left, and back again, 45 degrees to the right, and back again. The skirt on this, if I move this around, again, not particularly defined, but again, I think because there are those 6 LEDs on there, it does a very good job of diffusing that light. Now that's medium, and that is 300 lumens, and I can jump, do another long press. This will then boost me up to high, which is 1200. If I just come back onto this little jetty again. So there is the waterfall. I can now see past the waterfall into the top of a little pond that's up there. That tree, super clear. Looking up at the canopy, there's that little bat again. You can see just how much this floods the area, and it definitely is a floodlight. It's certainly not a spotlight. There's that tree again, super easy to see. This really does kind of illuminate this whole area. The little island in the middle there, again, super simple, super easy to see. And I'm just going to take a step back, because at any point, so let's put it back down onto medium. I can do, there's a duck over there. I can do a double press, and this will take me up to the turbo mode. And this is the full 5000 lumens. So getting back over here again, being able to see, it is almost like daylight where this is looking. You can even see the detail in the ripples of the water as it comes down the waterfall there. A tree. Yeah, it genuinely is amazing. I mean, I say this with a lot of lights, but the amount that LED technology has advanced over the last 5 or 6 years, from the lights that we used to have that were like, oh my god, these are so bright, to something like this with 5,000 lumens that does such a good job. Now I'm just going to take this back down again. So we're now back down on the medium mode, but I did mention, so this has that switch there. Just holding this up here, it's in my hand here, but this switch on here will turn it from its forward facing light into its facing down light. I'm just going to turn this off. So it didn't have that ramping system like it has before, where you have a low, medium or high. We definitely know that the lowest setting on here, so if I do a long press from off, when it's on, it was a long press from off. This will take you down onto its lowest setting, and then I can keep my finger on this and it will ramp it up until eventually it'll flash like that, and then you know that it's on the highest, which is 800, and then I can do that again. It will take it all the way down, and now we're on the lowest setting, which is just 2 lumens. Now what I'm going to do is, there's actually a little, will that stay there? It will stay there. So let's see how far we can get back. So hopefully you can see as it sits there on that bench, you can see the amount of light that it does produce, and it's a good amount of light, in fairness. I don't know what setting that was on. That's a difficulty where you just have, so let's actually, were we on, I think we were, oh no, we're going back down again. Let's go all the way back up. Flash again. Right, so we're on the full 800 lumens there. You can see just how much of that area it illuminates. Now we know a lot of the time, especially when we have lights that have forward facing like this, you can fire them up at the ceiling above you and it will reflect all of that light down. But if I put this above my head, turn it on to its full setting and just hold this here. In fact, let's come back over here. You can see just how much this covers. So all I'm doing is literally just holding this over my head. The one thing I do quite think is quite funky on this, so if I put that down there like that, because this is firing kind of downwards, eventually, can you see that little spot there? Because that's where all of the light from both sides, or all the way around, joins. But eventually, if I get this close enough, you can see where the shadow point is, that it doesn't, and you almost have this weird little kind of black hole there. Hey, science. But yes, to be able to switch between them, then all you have to do is flick that switch here, and this probably again is a good illustration of that, the different colours between the lights. This is a very white light, that is a very orange kind of light. But yeah, super functional. I quite like this. I think it's good how it's simple, and you can easily switch between each of the different modes. Now, as I said at the beginning of this, I certainly wasn't expecting this. I think what they've tried to do with this is they've tried to marriage together quite a few of their different products. You've got those Olight table lights, which are really kind of, I think it's the Baton 3 or the Baton 2 that sits on a stand. You've got the O bulbs, which are the lights that just, sit on a desk, or you go camping with those and they create that light that's around it. Or you've got their kind of traditional flashlights that Olight have become very popular for. And what they've done is they've married all of that into one light. Maybe they should have called this the one light to rule them all, kind of Lord of the Rings kind of thing. And I think that's what they've done with this. It's almost a jack of all trades, master of none. If this is the first iteration of this, again, as I've said, with a lot of lights in the past, especially from Olight, because I knew that they do make future iterations. I'm certainly interested to see where the Prowess family goes and how this evolves over time. But I think for their first attempt at it, it's a very well-crafted, multifunctional light. I think that's what I was trying to express with this is that yes, they've created and been able to squeeze a lot of features into a really nice package. So yeah, as I say, really wasn't expecting this, but I'm glad that I think with Olight, if you went back, maybe 4 or 5 years, no, maybe less than that, 3 or 4 years. They were trying lots of different things. Some of them didn't work. I think this is one that has worked. Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing more from this. Now, as it's Olight, there is a sale. I'll leave some links below with some exclusive discount codes so that you can get some discount off of this light, and I think you can use it towards other lights whilst the sale is on as well, so I'll leave those links below. I want to say a huge thank you to Olight for sending this to me. You guys rock. I'll leave some of my social media links so you can see more from me here on Moreland EDC and my sister channel Moreland Tactical. And whether you're watching this on YouTube or on Rumble, as always, stay safe, stay Morelander, and stay EDC. Read it, because it does again show that they're trying to think of different ways in which we use lights. I don't think Olight have got the imagination to create something like this, but now, what do I want to say? It's just different. I know I said I wasn't expecting this. I genuinely wasn't expecting this. They did send this to me and they're like, oh hey, we've just sent you another light. It's like, oh wow, that's cool. 100% unsolicited flashlights. Maybe I should start a new Me Too movement. Or it should be flash me, hashtag flash me. That might not go down too well on social media, but my inbox might be fun over the next few weeks. It's worth a try. Now, as the sale starts on the Saturday, I think it's a Saturday, I need to check my dates. I'm sure this is going to come out on the Saturday, which I don't usually do Saturday, so I think I'll do Saturday and I'll do Sunday as well. So, hey, it's a double bubble Morelander weekend. It's a double bubble May Madness. That's what it is, double bubble May Madness. Should have thought of that beforehand. Anyway, have a nice Saturday. I hope you're well, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow on Moreland EDC with whatever content is coming out tomorrow. Cool. See you in a bit.